What's up YouTube, COD4Man221 here, and welcome to the British for Company of Heroes 2. So basically the British just came out with the limited trial today, so I decided I'd give it a trial run here, and everyone wants to play the British, right? It's a one faction, release here. So basically 100% of the people were searching for allies most of the time, and then we only got into one game against the complete MG spam against the early British units that just destroyed us. So basically, this is 1v1 against Nick, who's been on a lot of videos for a long time. So you can see the basic, they call them Tommies, right? You can see the basic infantry section. Something that's unique about the infantry sections here are they have the supplies here, the pyrotechnics supplies, and they also have the medical supplies. Now, once these things have been opened up, this was actually, because if you look at the British base here, you can see it's not yet. Once we, basically once you build up your base, you basically just unlock things this way, the platoon command post and the company command post, and they'll have artillery on them, and your infantry actually can call, a strike down from the headquarters 25 pounder. So that's what you can use those guys for. Also, having one that's kind of like a medic can actually heal up your troops pretty easily. All the British standard infantry sections have trenches and sandbags. That's pretty typical, basically like it's like COH 1, where they were pretty defensive, but actually move faster, not like turtles like they were in COH 1. Anyway, these units do look pretty cool. The Tommies here. I like the newer maps. And I found an MG. So Nick is basically classic Wehrmacht. He's put an MG in this little town here. And you can see I have gone for the Commando Regiment. This allows me to do smoke raids, assault, Commando glider insertion, mortar cover, and air supremacy operation. So the only thing I'm going to actually use in this gameplay is going to be the glider, because that's actually a really cool thing. So the British units are much like, you can see the Enfields right here. The British units are a lot like wow. Also, no, it's the Eastern Infantry, Osttruppen. There we go. I was trying to think of the German word for it, this is the East troops. So they basically have they're kind of like Eastern troops. Basically, if they're in cover, they get a bonus. So you can see right here, they're in cover, so they have increased rate of fire. So they can shoot a lot faster while they're in cover, which encourages you to play basically using cover, not running out in the middle of the open with your infantry. Anyway, the British light machine gun they have is the Vickers, and currently it is losing to the MG42 between the two houses here. The MG42 is in the church. So I'm starting to spread out here. I'm capturing some points along the sides here, and you can see Nick is going to capture the right side here. I've also got the Universal Carrier. This can actually transport one unit, just like in the first COH. But it can also grab itself a flamethrower variant or the Vickers, so it gives an extra machine gun, which is quite useful actually. And we'll see me use it later on. Anyway, I've got my guys here. Surprisingly, only one of them is shooting out these windows to get an angle on the MG. So my MG actually got butchered, so I'm in a little bit of trouble. My MG actually died. I figured if I hopped out of the building, I would have actually lost my MG, so that's why I stayed in there and just let it die. Anyway, I have the more troops coming around the church here, and he's down to one guy, and his guy actually got killed, so the MG42 is gone now. So I have 3 infantry sections to start off here, and there's Nick's mortar. And Nick is going to quickly try to recapture the MG. And even though he's in a bad position here, his guys should be able to retreat because they're too high health, and we are really not shooting that quickly with our bolt action Lee Enfields. But kind of nice to see a new faction on the field here that I can actually show you. So I have secured this part of the town here, but there's plenty of the map still to be covered. Once I grab this point though, it cuts off the munitions for Nick over here, and this point also would cut off the fuel. So you can see, this map's kind of weird. You got like a stone wall up here, and it's a per position for MG, and Nick put it right there in a great position, so I can't really flank all. I mean, it'd be very hard for me to flank around that MG42 with its large arc. Anyway, you can see we're in heavy cover. I'm going to fall back. I didn't really want this position after all. And they also have a mortar, so I'm going to kind of fall back to the heavier cover here in the plaza. And if he wants to hop into this church, that's fine. They're only going to be able to shoot out of one window. And I also have my universal carrier, so I'm going to actually push back a little bit because there are a lot of units.
We're losing a capture point.
So I'm up into the house. So we're basically focusing on the middle here. I don't play a ton of 1v1s anyway, so you can kind of see why the why I did. Because the British, everyone's playing them. There's not a single axis. It was at 100% for allies for a really long time. And I'm upgrading my universal carrier, which actually takes a long time. I'm gonna get ready to swing around and hit Nick right here with the mortar, because that mortar's doing a lot of damage. But I just got my first squad of Royal Engineers. These guys are like the basic engineers, but they have Sten guns, which is pretty good. But they can also build a lot of things. One of the newer buildings they can actually build is called a forward assembly. This is basically, imagine the OKW Bad Group headquarters. So you can basically just build this. It's basically like a reinforcement bunker, but it actually has supplies on it, so you can upgrade your men with, you can come back to base to get a Piat or a Bren, but you can actually upgrade off of this building, which I'll build in a little bit. Anyway, I'm flanking. It's actually doing a lot of damage, but you can see we have the laser-guided Panzerfaust, and look at that shot. I'm not as accurate as that in real life. So I have about 400 manpower. I want to build a 3-inch mortar emplacement. Now, these guys are excellent. Actually, they're very good at countering enemy mortars, but they are very vulnerable to ATs and, counter barrage. I lost my infantry section there, so I've taken a lot of casualties actually, Nick, and he's kept most of his force alive here at this point. MD's still covering his field here, but I have all 3 victory points at this point. And these guys are damaged. I don't really want to send them just back to base, because base is actually pretty far away here.
3-inch mortar at the ready.
You can see the 3-inch mortar is here, and it's going to immediately start returning fire. Look at that. These guys fire really fast. And you can see there are big shells. Look at that. Doing a lot of damage to Nick in the church there. And I also have my troops in the house to kind of protect me, so that MG got wiped out by this mortar emplacement here, and he's going to try to shoot back with his own mortar. And I'm actually going to start building the assembly area right here. I'm going to see what it looks like once it gets built. So 2 kills already on this guy. His only special ability is the creeping smoke barrage. And they also have the brace structure, so basically if you're about to, I don't think you can fire, you can't fire back while this is active, but it'll kind of help protect you if you're getting mortared. But yeah, this house is not providing any protection. My men are just getting butchered every time they go in it. And Nick's going to push up now that my men are suppressed. But you can see this is almost done. This is forward assembly area, and I really need it. I think I could try to get away from Nick here, but I got to retreat at this point, which I don't manage to do. See, I retreated a little too late there. So now they're actually going to start shooting at this, which is going to be very ineffective. So yeah, against the Grenadiers like this, it's not a good engagement for me. And these guys are not exactly, I mean, they're around Grenadier price. And Nick is going to be forced to fall back here because I can just keep reinforcing. But I've been targeting his mortar, and he just keeps reinforcing. Because this thing does a lot of damage. And now Nick is finally going to harass on that side. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely doing a lot of damage to Nick's position here. He even has, his bunker's pretty damaged also. So my plan is basically to keep cutting off Nick's field right here. This is a very vulnerable point. And he could actually cut off my own field through this point here. So I feel like on a 1v1, it's basically who can harass the other person's side with the minimal amount of forces. Like, if this is my zone of control right here, and this is Nick's, who can basically harass and cut off the opponent's field fast enough? And then also, who can actually, manage to keep enough troops in the center or where your main point of fighting is? Like I said, I don't play a ton of 1v1s, and you can see Nick's troops are very veteran here. And my mortar's doing damage. And you can see I was going to try to pursue, but I decided to back off there. And I'm going to fully capture this point to make it harder for him to capture in the future. And Nick has an AT gun out at 9 minutes. It's not bad thinking. I, however, have not even gone for this slight upgrade to get an armored car or anything. I haven't even gone for the... You guys remember the QF from Company Heroes 1? Basically, it's like an anti-infantry, anti-tank... not anti-infantry, anti-aircraft emplacement you can build. They also have the AT, which is back, which you don't end up using in this game.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
So you do have the quarter 17-pounder AT emplacement. I wish these guys had flamethrowers. They do have demolition, which can actually destroy cover, but it doesn't do anything against buildings. I already tested that out earlier. So I'm hurting because I do not have any grenades, and I'm just researching this now to get weapons racks. This guy has 14 kills right now, and he's firing over here, so I can't like rain death down upon him. But that's officially abandoned there.
Enemy have destroyed a forward emplacement.
And I gotta be careful because Nick has his own mortar too that's still around. But that AT is now forced back. I do have this now unlocked, so you can see I can actually reinforce. Just click on either side and pick up the Piat or the Bren, the Czechoslovakian-made Bren. I still remember using that in Call of Duty 1 when you're on the airfields and you like steal like a German plane. Anyway, Nick has a half track here, so help him further reinforce. He's got a very... Actually wiped out his mortar, I didn't know that.
Trying to take one of our points.
So we both lost our mortars in the end. So I'm pretty vulnerable actually right now because I only have 2 infantry squads here, and one of them's, you know, back at base just hanging out. You can see I do have a artillery piece here. I'd really recommend, I don't use it enough in this game, but I'd recommend getting this supply and just calling artillery from your base down upon your opponents. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. I feel like there's a lot in the center stopping me, and there is actually. I mean, there's not that much, but they do have a grenadier squad and a mortar and an AT, so I'm actually going to start repairing this before I actually man it. You can see I get behind cover here and start taking shots at Nick's isolated grenadier squad. He's going to quickly reinforce his other Vet 2 squad from the middle. And we're actually hands down winning this, but we're shooting not at the infantry with all my men. We're actually shooting at the the half track there, which didn't do a whole lot of damage to it, as you can see. And I'm just going to fall back, quickly reinforce back here. This guy could actually, I kind of forgot the British have this ability, but I could have actually healed up my unit a little bit to make him perfect health. That's actually not a bad. I should use the smoke rate, the smoke rate operation a little bit. See, this is my first gameplay, right? So I'm trying to show you. I'll show you some vehicles later on, some of the cool upgrades you can get for them. But you can't build all these things with the British. You know, you don't have enough manpower to do it. So Nick's remanning this house here, and I figure, you know, I'm gonna need grenades. So I just reman this, and they're gonna immediately start shooting back at this house right here. And that will start doing some real damage. You see they're down to 1 man, and he's lucky he actually got away with that. But he's doing the same thing again. He's going to bring up the AT to try to kill my mortar here. And it's already heavily damaged. I mean, I guess the repair didn't go well enough for that mortar's actually firing back at it. But I do have grenades now. And I tried to click a grenade attack order on this guy right here, but my men had to run around the fence. So I'm like, now it's too late. And he's just going to fall back, so... Very bad. That's another, you know, that's 400 manpower I lost, but I did inflict probably 400 manpower more damage on Nick there. But yeah, I gotta be very careful. They actually just wiped out a squad with that, so it's very unfortunate for me. I don't really have anything left here. I have 2 infantry sections and a damaged company of Royal Engineers. But I am unlocking the company command, which will allow me to get a Sherman Firefly, hopefully. So you can kind of upgrade within your own building. So this is actually really cheap to get an armored car. But it allows you to unlock the armored car. It doesn't actually give you the armored car for that cheap. See, that's how much the armored car actually costs. And yeah, same thing with that guy. But you can see, you know, there should be an artillery piece that should pop out of this building here. It kind of looks like the US base a little bit. I kind of find it interesting how they make all the bases look kind of different. Like the different setups, like the US, you know, this is kind of similar to the US, especially with that tent right there. So you can see there's definitely a tank. That actually might be a... What is this? That actually kind of looks like an AT gun. Yeah, they must both be. They must both be the what do you call it? They must both be the the British pound, the 17 pounder. I think that's what it is technically. Yeah, a 25 pounder actually. Anyway, Nick took this back previously, so I'm going to take it. I'm also going to lay some mines when I get a chance. So right now, Nick's going to win this infantry engagement here. He has a reinforcement bunker right over here. I only have 2 squads. I need to get some armor on the field to help break this kind of deadlock we have. Because he can just take the right side. I mean, that's all he needs, the right side in the middle of the map here. I know you can see I'm going to lay down some mines that are actually not that effective, it seems like. So it's basically an anti-tank mine, but it's a lighter anti-tank mine, so infantry can trigger it. Because you have an anti-infantry mine like a bouncing Betty, right? With a certain amount of pressure. If you have an anti-tank mine, it needs a lot of pressure to actually go off. So that's how the mines don't know if it's an infantry or a tank, right? It could be even a civilian truck that could get blown up by this mine. But it's the pressure on the mine that actually sets it off usually, unless you have like a claymore where you have a tripwire or something like that. Anyway, he's getting really close to my territory here, actually. I'm close to my base. So, just the munitions are right here. I actually kind of ignore that there's this whole nice little vineyard area up here where they're probably growing, like, wine or something. But yeah, he can get outflanked here. It'd be very hard, but I could do it. And you can see my guys have their nice Brens right here. With the thing about the Bren was its magazine is on top of the gun, which is a weird weapon design. And also, if you don't get that in correctly, like you could actually, if you get stuck, it doesn't go in perfectly, you're in trouble basically with your reload. So I tried to take his munitions, and there's a bunker right here covering it. So I'm like, okay, not gonna mess with that. Now maybe I could flank it or throw a mortar or something down here, but Nick's been very good at killing my mortar emplacements. Only the Sherman Firefly. Now, what's cool about the British tank, the Sherman Firefly here, as it goes onto the field, we can actually get the 60-pound tulip rockets on it. This is like the coolest thing that the tank can have. It's everything you love in it, and also as a tank commander. So you can actually get both. It's not like it's one or the other, like with some German vehicles. And you can see we're just running through the vines, the vineyard here, the vineyard. And just a lovely, heavy armor tank here. This is some of the best things the British have, is a Sherman Firefly. It's effective against all kinds of vehicles. It's like an Easy 8 almost, but it has a rocket. I can't tell you how excited I am this thing has a rocket. And I'm starting to make a little bit of a push here. Nick's going to send over some troops. And I have rockets, and I'm like, okay, let's push over here. And I'm going to launch the rocket right on this position right here. I got to be careful I don't want to lose my infantry. And you can see the rocket missed, so that was real disappointment actually. But these things take like 2 minutes to reload, so that's really annoying. But I mean, you don't want them to be overpowered.
Enemy causing trouble.
Anyway, look at the mine there. It actually killed two grenadiers over there. So I'm kind of forced to pull back. I know he has a machine gun over there. But I'm going to take this point. There's actually no one actually grabbed this, so I'll take the extra three fuel and extra 5 munitions. And then I don't show these guys off, but these are armor-piercing snipers. Very good units. There's only one guy in the squad, though. It's like a German sniper, right?
Right then. Time to earn the king's shilling.
Anyway, I try to start flanking here, but they can just turn their machine gun. I'm actually trying to throw a grenade. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think the rocket actually reloaded that slowly. And this grenade is really not that good, this number 36M. And they have an AT here, which lets me know I got to be a little careful with my own tank here. But look, this thing is really cool. It has rockets on the side of it. So yeah, Nick has 2 victory points for now. He could probably push on and take this one. He's also building a bunker right here. So I gotta look for some better options. I could get a cruiser tank. It's called a Centaur. So I could get a Centaur. I could also get a Cromwell, Sherman Firefly. I could also go for these, so you can actually upgrade your own thing to get specialized in hammer, which allows you to get, specialized. I can get a Comet tank, Or I could get a Churchill, which is a very anti-infantry tank. It's great against soft targets. I'm like, let's get ready, let's wait for a target. I actually targeted the AT, so it's actually pretty inaccurate, these rockets, but it did kill half the AT crew there. Which is down now, definitely moving up. You can see Nick has a command tank. So I'm quickly reinforcing. I'm just trying to fight a holding action here. You can see we're getting slaughtered. But I built another mortar, much to Nick's displeasure. But he has his own mortar, so you know. But mine is much more effective. Like, mine is going to start wiping out squads. Look how fast this fires. Let's count in between barrages. So it's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, every 4 seconds firing. That is really damn fast, let's just be honest. Anyway, I got my guys in here trying to kill Nick's Grenadiers, who actually have a bonus. So they take less damage. They barely get out of that one. He got pretty lucky, actually, not losing that squad there. Now the thing about this guy only, you know, this mortar emplacement only has range of about like this area right here. It actually can't hit his mortar, and it cannot hit his reinforcement bunker. So Nick laid some mines down. I think they should actually get rid of this sign personally, because it lets the player know there's mines there. By having that little skull and, you know. Anyway, Nick is trying to Nick's trying to kill this again, and I'm like, I can't let that happen. Anyway, I have a Cromwell tank out. Nice little basic British tank here. Gosh, these Cromwells bring back memories. They really do. They bring back memories of when, you know, I was playing COH 2, you know, trying this new cool game, and COH 1. And just having a whole lot of fun playing with the British and their campaign and that. And I'm going to push up, because I took out his only AT he had in this vicinity. So these are my big assaultists. I have a lot of infantry. And the priority target is going to be this Panzer Command tank. So my infantry actually just wiped out that squad. And we're going to push on up. I'm just going to ignore him, running over Nick's troops as they're getting shot. And you can see he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. The AT is here though, so Nick's trying to save his tank there, but he stopped there. It's too late at this point. And I should have actually, I didn't see there was a rocket guy right there, but I should have put some rockets on. I tried to get away, but it was a little too late. So I did lose my tank, but I have just... Let's go on to Nick. He literally just lost. He's a machine gun, a mortar, and a pioneer squad, and his AT. But he's nothing in the center. And I still have troops, and he's also losing his position right here, his little bunker. I think that was actually... Was that my own? Yeah, that's my own mortar, I think. Now I'm going to fall back with this unit. There's no reason to lose a vet 2 to capture just a little early. And then we're going to run back and reinforce here. And these guys are just hanging out back at base. I'm setting up for another Sherman Firefly. I should really get another one quickly as soon as possible. I know these guys are going to repair the damaged 3-inch mortar, who's still shooting around this area.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
I actually walked the best way by just like going right through this courtyard here. And they have the AT and they're ready to do some damage. You might have thought I had some armor or something there. They're also trying to, you know, save this bunker, which is almost dead. So you can see I actually haven't used anything. I haven't really used any of my doctrine just yet, so... You know, you gotta kind of figure out when you want to use these things and what they're actually used for. Like, I really want to see what this air supremacy operation is. 325 munitions is a ridiculous sum for any kind of special ability. You can also make this a retreat point, which I don't end up doing. I'm really trying to save my manpower to reinforce these guys as quickly as possible. So you see, these guys have the smoke, and those guys don't. Anyway, Nick's trying to reinforce once again, but you know, you're with the half track that far up, you can only protect it so well. There's going to be a gap or some point when the AT gets killed, and then your half-track is in a lot of trouble.
The enemy is attacking one of our forward buildings.
So I decided to go a little crazy here. We're going to land a glider right behind the German line, so you can see there it is flying over. Now, just like landing original paratroopers, you got to be careful with the glider. You don't want to just land it like in between these two houses or anything like that. But here we go. The glider loses a little bit of stuff and outbursts all these commandos. They're going to start killing some of these German units here. We managed to wipe out the mortar there, Vet 3. But these guys are actually going to get butchered. They seem to be very lightly armored. And yeah. I tried to throw a grenade and this guy just got butchered.
Squad knocked out.
And I fall back with this guy. He wasn't exactly fully repaired, but I've done a lot of damage to Nick here. He's down to like 2 infantry squads. Anyway, my Sherman Firefly should be coming out soon. I have enough fuel now. I'm just waiting for the manpower. And then with that, I should be able to basically keep, I'll be able to overwhelm his position at this point. He still hasn't turned his, this glider actually doesn't do anything besides give you, line of sight. You might be able to reinforce off of that. I know there's a different glider doctrine that hasn't come out just yet. But Nick has really not a lot of manpower at this point. I don't really have a lot either, but I have a lot more troops. And the reason I don't have a lot of manpower is we are reinforcing the hell out of these squads here. And this guy is still, doing a lot of damage to Nick's position. He's having to constantly reinforce, it seems like, off his half-track there. Do you guys remember in early COH when the flame projectors on the half-track, everyone just used to use them against the communists, the Soviets, and then they made them be after the second battle stage, and then no one uses them anymore. Like, people used to love that.
A capture point is being overrun.
Anyway, I see that Nick's trying to overrun this, and I'm very aware he may or may not have an AT over there. I remember that there was an AT around this area last time, but it looks like Nick has lost an AT or abandoned one, because one is destroyed, it looks like. And I'm just going to force Nick back. Now, I'm being a little cautious with my tank. I was pretty sure he probably have an AT in position here and ready to ambush me, but he actually doesn't. So I'm just going to push on up. I got to be careful because there is a bunker here. And see, I even have my guys over here ready to flank an AT. But there is no AT after all. And these guys are just in a lot, they're in a lot of pain. But Nick's going to call in his very expensive strafing run here, the anti-tank. It actually did no damage to my tank here, my Cromwell, so I'm actually surprised by that. But it's only in one area that does that amount of damage here. So Nick's kind of getting forces more towards the middle again. And this guy has 14 kills still. Beautiful thing. If I had gone like 2 or 3 of these, if I was to put another one down, Nick would be in a world of pain. You gotta be careful though. These things can get destroyed and they can backfire on you. I've noticed the British are very slow to start the match off, but they're much better in the later game. Like the Sherman Firefly is absolutely an amazing tank, and it's worth it for how much fuel it costs.
An emplacement is being attacked.
And also, once you get the mortar emplacement, now I haven't seen so far. There's a Royal Engineer. And look at this. His AT got a little too far forward here, so he's actually trying to take this out again. If I can kill this AT, Nick will have nothing left. And I shouldn't have pulled back there. I wanted to make sure I kept my tank intact here. So I gotta be a little careful. Anyway, I have not noticed, I was talking about, there's like a Royal Engineer doctrine that may allow you to build actual artillery. I have not actually used that doctrine, I've just been using this commando one. And by using, I mean dropping gliders for fun, but don't worry, I'll get more coverage of the actual commanders you can use and more British abilities just as they get as I have the official release on Thursday here. This is after all day 1, and if you look at the Company of Heroes 2 day 1 compared to what it is now, it's a completely different game. The tactics and units are different, especially the tactics. Nick has 2 ATs here. He's really trying to ward off a possible, armored assault here, and that mortar is just... that's a great way to kill your enemy. Just kill their mortar. This mortar emplacement will absolutely kill the enemy mortars. Anyway, I decided to use my ability, this fire. So you can see my artillery is going to start getting in position, turning around. And you can see they're going to start shooting. So your base can fire. This thing's under a lot of pressure here. Artillery's raining down on him. And I'm going to go secure the right side here. I did upgrade this, of course, with the rockets because it has rockets. And I'm just going to run my Cromwell in first. This was actually faster than this guy. And I'm trying to kill. That's actually a very good shot from this guy. I'm going to try to kill this artillery, this heavy machine gun. Now it looks like this rocket, actually, I'm going to use it against the bunker here. And it will actually do a heck of a lot of damage. Take a look at this. Beautiful, bunker destroyed. So this guy might be a great bunker buster in the future here. And you can see Nick has his AT. I'm not going to advance anymore. I'm going to send my infantry in because I got to be a little careful.
We're losing a capture point.
But at this point, Nick really doesn't have any manpower, and I have the armor here. He has no armor. And even if he upgraded, you know, even if he upgraded and went for like a Panther or something, he does not have the manpower to actually get that Panther. So, good game to Nick. That is when the game ended here. Here's the kills and deaths. So, here's your first look at the British here. Some really cool units in the British. You know, I like the tactics and strategies I'm going to be able to develop out of this. And this fort assembly area is a great thing. Hope you guys enjoyed me using the glider also that landed behind enemy lines. But some really cool abilities that Relic really went outside the box when they made the British here. Added some, you know, a lot of cool things. They brought some old classics back too, like the mortar emplacement, which is a good or a bad thing depending on which side of the field you're on. If you're on the Allies, it's a great thing. If you're on the Axis, you really hate these things. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Confirm 221 signing off, and I'll see you in the next episode.